I will do a short presentation of myself and a short presentation of what how I look upon the weekend, and then we will get going. I used to be an athlete. Actually, once I was even a lightweighter. That was 30 kilos ago. When I was a rower, I was also a student, and exercise physiology was my main topic. And my first profession was as a teacher, and then I started to study psychology and turn into a headmaster. And when I was working as a headmaster, I also was a coach on my spare time. At that time I was coaching Frida Svensson, who was world champion in the singles color. I was not supposed to be a professional coach, but they persuaded me to come to Norway, so I did it anyway. And that was 6 years ago. I'm really happy with that, and I'm gonna do my last 2 years in Norway now, and then I'm gonna, after the Olympics in Tokyo, I will do something else. And I'm also a member of the FISA competitive commission. So if you want to, during this weekend, if you want to give us something to FISA, I will bring it in so we can develop our sport, because it's really important that the sport of rowing is developing in the world. Norway was 20 years ago. Norway took 1 Olympic medal in the Winter Olympics. This year, last year it was 37. So we must think that it's been a strategic work who has made Norway the best winter nation in the world. It's not just luck. So the vision for Norwegian Olympiatoppen is the Olympic Sport Confederation in Norway, and the vision is to lead and train with the best in the world. And the mission is to give me knowledge, motivation, and tools to develop rowing. So I got a close collaboration with the Norwegian Olympic Committee. And one of the most important missions the Norwegian Olympic Committee has is actually to make us in Norway come together like this. Because we think that working together for the big performances is a really important tool. And sport is the first priority. And we think that world-class training is, the training is the main thing, of course, and I think we all agree on that is the main thing. To quality of training is the main thing to make athletes perform well. And there is some core values that is described and that we always think about. We think about honesty, we think about health, community, and love of the sport. And the main thing is the quality of the daily training. That is how we try to work. And I will come back to my way of organize things, and how I love to coach, and how I like to conduct the environment to make the quality of training as good as possible. And what is more and more talked about, and what is more and more important, is the relation between the athletes and the coaches, and in the athlete team. So we work really a lot with creating and stimulating environment that people want to stay for a long time in. Because it takes time. We need to, in rowing, it takes time to be a top international athlete. And this, I think that this is getting more and more important in the Norwegian sports system, and of course of Sweden, and I got an insight in Denmark as well. So relationships between you coaches, relationships with your athletes, relationships with the federation is a key factor to have a good performance in sport. You need to have the same vision. And the last key factor is preparation and execution of the competition. But we also think that to be able to do this, it's really important that these two factors are in good quality, because we never can just work with mental skills and tapering skills. because we need to do the hours together in good training. And this is how the Sports Federation is built up. Here we have as a top leader in the Norwegian Olympic Committee is a former rower. So that is at some occasions really good for us. I am situated here, and here I can find help from doctors if I need, and I use a lot of these people from, when we're working with power and strength. We have a guy, Sindre, who will help us out, and we also have for technique and motoric skills. We work a lot with that, and I will come back to that because I think it's a really key factor. When I started to work in Norwegian rowing, I thought that the physio was somebody who fixed somebody who was ill, but now I find that it's really good for performance to work together with motor skills people. And we have, at some occasions, there will come people from the Norwegian Olympic Committee, and they will join our training, and they will give me feedback on my behavior. I think because I think it's really important for me to develop as well, and so does the Norwegian Olympic Committee. We of course we have sports psychology, we have sports nutrition, we have people who work with technology. Mainly they were working with ski projects, how to make skis go faster in snow, and we have a training center, an Olympic center that we can attend. But we don't have a really nice house like this for rowing. We have a small shed. This is mainly where I can find help to develop, and we have a really tight collaboration. I guess it's the same for you here. I mean, I can see that you're situated among other sports, and I hope and I think that collaboration with other sports and with the Olympic Center is one of the key factors for Belarus. And also in Norway, para sport is fully integrated into the system. So I'm also the head coach for para rowing. And of course we don't have to look into this very much, but also the objective goal for Norwegian elite sport is to make the athletes better, to create more of the best athletes, and to develop young athletes. And I had a meeting with Oleg this morning, and he was really interested in how do we go from develop young athletes to create more of the best, to make the best better. But what is important to point out, I think, is that our system is not well founded. We don't have much money. We have good people, I think, and a good plan, but we don't have much money. So we don't focus so much on money. So the reason I talk a little bit about organization is not because to tell you that we have a perfect and well-founded organization. I think that I talk about this because I find it to be successful. This is a common responsibility to build up the system for future results. And these are the methods that are used. So it's really important to have cooperation between the Olympic Committee and the sport. And I am at least once a week in a meeting with the Norwegian Olympic Committee, and they will ask me how is things. Olympic Committee have talent identification programs. The really important is to create future elite. We have other organization who is taking care of health and sports for all and special projects, but Olympiatoppen is very focused on elite. What we have a problem with is we can't offer the athletes very much. We have a small scholarship, but mainly the athletes have to finance their own career. So most of the athletes are students. They have to live as professional athletes, but I have no money to give them. I can just create an environment that they believe can make them successful in sports, but I can't give them any salary, and that's why, and I will come back to that many times during the weekend, that is why I have to create an environment that is stimulating for the rowers to stay in for many years, because that's what it takes to be a top athlete. So I think a lot about how can I make you enjoy my environment. And I will come back later on some of the motivational studies that I'm relying my work on. So all the time it's about create a culture which makes us lead and train best in the world. We're only a few coaches in Norwegian rowing who is employed, but the vision we have is that when a country gonna choose a new coach, we in Norway are liked to be considered. That is the goal for how we work as coaches. We're gonna be so good as coaches as we want to be picked. When a new country is gonna pick a new coach, a former Norwegian coach should be considered. That is a goal for the coaches in Norway. So that is a vision. So if you have been working as a coach in Norway, that should be on your curriculum vitae. I was a coach in Norway. Oh, you were a coach in Norway. That was good. You worked together with some of the best coaches. That is, I'm not sure if we're there, but that is a vision. What is important on this picture is this circle. So the Olympiatoppen, they have their professionals, but it's all their work are mainly coming through me. Because especially when people are getting really good, there's always somebody who wants to be joined in a little bit. So then you suddenly will find somebody in the newspaper and say that I am the best nutritionist and I'm working with these guys. Because there are so many people and so much information going around. But what we have decided is that it mainly I am the filter. So then I can fagpersoner is like people who working with strength, so nutrition and whatever. So they talk to me and we agree on, yes, do this with these two guys. And then we have the circle, then we have a good circle around. And it's not because of control, it's because you are the people who know the athletes best. You know their needs and you are closest to them. That's why it should go through them. I'm not afraid to lose control, but I'm really keen on that the athletes are getting the best possible information, because they're all different, and we'll come back to that. And as I said, you can get a small amount of money. If you're a really top athlete, you can get about €1,000 a month as a scholarship. But that is a top scholarship you can get from in Swedish Norwegian rowing. I know that in Ireland people are getting €40,000 a year if you're a top athlete. So even though Norway is a really rich country compared to many countries, to most countries, all countries in the world, I think, the foundings for top athletes are very low. And to earn this top scholarship, you need to have a world or a European championship medal. So you might get a development scholarship if you're considered to be a former athlete, but you have to perform before you get the scholarship. If you're a really good cross-country skier or a biathlete, working training in biathlon, you might get foundings from your federation. And if you get founded and you get a salary from the federation, you will lose this scholarship. So if you're getting more than €60,000 a year, you won't get any money from the Olympic Confederation. But I know that in cross-country skiing, who's a really rich federation, you have a salary for training. So rowing, most of the summer sport in Norway is not well founded, but the winter sports are really rich. And the only thing, I'm not telling this because I wanted to feel pity, I'm just telling you this, that money is not the main issue. Rowing is the most successful summer sport in Norway, but it's not due to money. It's due to soul. It's due to the like to perform. Norwegian's vision is to maintain the position as the world leaders in winter sports and to reinforce the performance in summer sports. And we do that by, of course, development of the winter sports, but also that the summer sports are learning from the winter sports. But also, since we have been so successful in rowing for the past 6 years, also other sports are really interested in why can rowing perform, and they try to learn from us as well. When Norwegian winter sport did this big change, the first thing that they did was that to make people work together. That was the biggest change. So cross-country skiing learned from swimming, and canoeing from race walking. So it was the learning process was the key factor to evaluate results. And it was even archery and rowing work together to see what can we learn from archery, what can archery learn from rowing. So it was many sports that tried to work together and figure out the key to evaluate the results. So in my belief, anyway, if you want to evaluate Belarus rowing even more, the decision is made here among you, because I've seen you have the athletes, you have the same boats, we have water. Even in Norway it's ice now, but I know that you have that sometimes here as well. So I think we kind of have the same environmental issues. When I left Oslo, it was exactly the same weather that it was here, and I know I've seen you athletes on the course. I know you have fine athletes. I know that you have results in really good results in the past. So I think that you have all the benefits that you can expect to get good results. As we said, Norway has made 21 medals in the European World Championships and Olympic Games the last 6 years. And, Norwegian rowing had a really bad period between 2008 and 2012. But the coach who was working during that time, he built up a system. So when I came in, I had really good possibilities, and I think that I know enough about technique to make rowers row fast. That's obvious. I know not enough of physiology, but there is definitely coaches who know more about technique than I do, and there's definitely coaches who know more about physiology than I do. But I think what we have learned to do is to connect all these things so it's obvious for the athletes what we're supposed to do. And we are Norwegian rowing. We are situated in Oslo. That is where the Olympic Center, and 30 kilometers south of Oslo is our rowing center, the lake that we train on. And we have also divided in Norway in 4 regions that are because Norway is based on a club system. We don't have rowing in school. We don't have university rowing, so it's a club system. And we have divided in Norway into 4 regions where we stimulate the clubs to work together. Total, we are 2.5 people who's working with the national team, but totally we're 4 coaches who's employed in Norway. And that also that we are also responsible for. We're also managers, as you asked. We don't have a manager. We don't have somebody who's responsible for boats and logistics. So it's all the 4 of us. We have to solve all transports and logistics and booking the hotels and being team manager as well. So we have a hectic life. Yeah, there's been a tradition of having foreign coaches as well, but we also know that the foreign coaches who is getting successful in Norwegian sport are the one who's learning the language fast. For the moment, we have 8 athletes in the top group, and we call that the Olympic group, and they are all coached by me. And then we have 15 athletes in the group below, and they are coached by another coach, and we will come back to that. As said, we have a limited budget. We can't do anything that we want, and the club has to pay money to have members of the national team. And as said, we have a really good collaboration with the Norway Olympic Committee, and we are Norway's most successful summer sport. And it's been medals every year except 2012 since 1972. It's been a medal in every Olympic game, but except 1980, where Norway didn't go, and 2012. And in 2016, Norway totally took 4 medals and 2 from rowing. And I think that we have a fair chance to take big chance to take 2 medals, a fair chance to take 3 medals in Tokyo. And so this is our organization. This is Olympic and the Paralympic group, which I'm coaching, and we're a little bit embarrassed. We're a little bit embarrassed because all the medals was concluded by Norwegian rowing is taken by men, and there hasn't been any women on the Olympic Games for Norway in rowing since 1996. And the development group, they have 0 to 4 years to reach the Olympic level. So that is how we're recruiting people to the different groups. And Mr. Oleg asked me this morning, how do you select people to the groups? And do you use only physical parameters? No, we don't. Physical parameters and rowing on the ergometer is only one of the skills that you need to have. We also evaluate them technically. Are they able to fill in a training diary? Can they document what they're doing? Are they good on self-management? So then they need to have a few qualities that we think is important to be a top athlete. Because the rowing ergometer is a great tool if you use it right, but it can also be devastating for the rowing if you use it on the wrong way. So I do just as much technical coaching on the rowing ergometer as I do on the lake. What we can offer the athlete is a club system, a traditional performance, a training and development system, and we can, when we evaluate, when we ask a rower what they like about us, they say that they like their teammates and they like their coaches. So we can give them a good system to be in. But we can't offer a good financial system. There's no governmental or political system that supports rowing as it does in Great Britain or in Australia. And we don't have any bonus or prize money. We were talking about if you get an Olympic medal, you can get a hug from your coach, but no money.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all. Actually, rowing is a really cheap sport to be in because the clubs own. You pay a member fee to the club. It might be 100 euros a year, and then you get free access to it. What you do is that you're entering a club. There are in Norway there maybe 50, 60 clubs in different cities, and you go to the club and you start rowing. You can start rowing from your 10 until Olaf Tufte, who is one of the most successful rowers. He started when he was 18, but usually people start between 10 and 14 years. They start to work in the club, and they go to local regattas, and they enter the national championship for juniors, and they're working together with the club coach, and then they will be recognized by us if they perform over time. The way into the national team is from the clubs to the regional collaboration, where you can go to Scandinavian championships and maybe to Baltic Cup, and then you will be recognized by us in the national team, and you might be taken up into a group. Or maybe I can talk to a rower and say, okay, what you're doing now is very promising. If you continue this work over a few years, you might be in the top group of the national team. So we supply the coaches with the training program that we are believing in, and they can use it the way they want. So the way to the national team is through the club.